Bueno, gente, estamos aquí otra vez, el primer podcast del 2022. Y aquí está el comisionado Lu Vega, Feli Florestoin, Amos con nosotros. Y hoy tenemos un invitado especial. Desde los Estados Unidos está con nosotros Will. Hey, Will, how you feel today?
I'm feeling great, man. I'm happy to be here with you guys.
We really appreciate you spend time with us here and share your knowledge with us. And so basically, we're gonna start to talk about the first years you can understand are the best one right now in the game. So for me, the best one right now, Bryce Harper. What do you think?
Really? That goes number one for you?
It's my man this year.
Yeah. Well, you guys you play categories, right? It's not points. So I can see Bryce Harper going pretty early. He actually gets a little bit of a downgrade from me because the stolen bases they haven't stopped, but he's not the guy that's going to steal you 20, 25 bases anymore. He's closer to 10 to 15. So I personally wouldn't go for Bryce Harper number one, especially because there's so many outfielders out there. There's a lot of outfielders. I would go for more a position that it's a little more scarce. I know shortstop isn't that scarce. There's some, pretty good top shortstops out there. I know you guys have errors in your league, but I would still personally go to Fernando Tatis number one. I think that last year and he missed like 34 games, something like that, and he still finished in like the top 5 in all of baseball. That's home runs, stolen bases, runs scored, RBI. He's a jack of all trades, and I understand about the errors that downgrades him a little bit, but I'd rather punt one category and mass out on all the other categories because his batting average and his on-base percentage is also really great. He doesn't strike out that much. I mean, he still strikes out a lot, more than 100.
It was a 34% clip last year.
Yeah, so I mean, he's still up there in strikeouts, but the dude's so young. He's just getting better. We just need him to stay healthy. If he can play 155 games, there's no reason why this guy shouldn't be going number one.
So I have a question because you asked you didn't ask. You started talking about positional scarcity, right? Scarcity, and then bring up the shortstops. And what do you think about Tria Turner, who actually qualifies as a second baseman, who has probably a better chance of being the batting champion, who will steal 30? He will steal 30 bases
at least.
Who probably will hit close to 30 home runs, maybe. Maybe I'm pushing it, but could be there. And he's in a Dodgers lineup with second base eligibility.
That is a very valuable player right there. The only thing with Trea Turner, and the only reason why I don't have him number one, it was really a toss-up for me. It's either Tatis or Trea Turner at number one. After all was said and done, I went with Tatis just because MLB changed the ball. The ball it's a little bit softer now. The ball doesn't travel as far as it used to. And with right-handed Trea Turner, the home runs that he got in previous seasons, a lot of them were wall scrapers, maybe going 5 feet past the fence. I don't think we're going to see a lot of those home runs anymore. We're going to see a lot more doubles and triples, which is fine. He'll still hit. I think he'll get closer to like 20 home runs. When you put them together with his possible 40 to 50 even stolen bases, that's a big moneymaker, but he's also leadoff hitter. So that means he's not going to be getting as many RBIs as a guy that's hitting number 2 or 3 in the lineup. If he was hitting number 2 or 3, possibly he would be upgraded a little bit because he's going to get a lot more RBIs. But there's no way they're going to take the fastest guy in MLB out of the leadoff position, even if he's hitting home runs.
I agree.
Okay, guys, let me say thank you for being with us, first of all. And I'm going to add some something to that, and I really like to hear your opinion about it. I want to bring another player. How about Bobby Shed? I think that I know he's not a top pick, first or second, but of those that we have talked, I know that we have concern with Tatis shoulder, and we know Tria Turner in the lineup with the Dodgers. Those numbers that he put last year, I think he can put something real near to that. I don't think a regression is in order. I think he will be some kind of the same type of production. But I think Bo has showed that as year pass, he's gonna get better, and he has until now. And last year's numbers, for me, sounds like now is a year for him to put everything together, and maybe he can get to those top positions. Do you think that Bo has a chance to be like a top 5 player this year on every draft?
He got a nice lineup around him. So
Oh yeah, for
we,
sure. That I think that the Blue Jays actually have a chance to go to the World Series this year. They're making a lot of moves, man. They're getting pitching. They already have an all-star lineup, Pitching was really their only problem, and they're trying to solve that right now.
Yeah.
Uh,
His stats from last year: 102 RBIs, 30 homers, 121 RBIs. Runs. And for me, one aspect that I really enjoy about last season is the average. He was near 300 in his
299.
career. Exactly, in his career, that's a big progress for me. So I'm thinking that maybe um, with experience, not something on his shoulder that he has to carry that team, because the lineup is really good. He's young, and he's going step by step. I think this is the year for him. I'm not saying that I will pick first Bo before Turner or maybe Tatis, but in the case that we see the concern that Fernando is going to keep having problem with the shoulder,
Yeah.
maybe we can try to say, okay, I'm trying to go with a more sure thing. His career, he's not been a injury prone player, so maybe he can get to that top 5. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I was really surprised that Tatis didn't go for the shoulder surgery.
Yeah.
Over the off season. I think he should have. That way he can come
Mhm.
back and work out the kinks a little bit in the first couple months of the season, and then he'll be fine for years to come. Now he's gonna be in rehab for his career.
Yeah.
That's really gonna hurt
Exactly.
him.
Yeah.
For Bo Bichette,
Mhm.
I really like Bo Bichette. I like his potential for the future. I see Bo Bichette as a potential even number one overall player. He has potential for MVP in the American League. My only issue with him is his plate discipline. He swings and misses so often, dude. It's the
Mhm.
strikeouts and
He he
he
will not
chases
walk.
a lot.
He
He
will
will
not walk.
not walk. He does not take a walk. He's either
Mhm.
getting on base with a hit or he's striking out or
Yeah.
grounding out. A lot of ground outs. His soft contact is just the percentage that he's at. I don't remember exactly what it's at, but he has a lot of
Mhm.
soft contact when he's chasing a lot of balls that are away from him. I think that if he can cut down on the strikeouts, then that will put him in the talks to be a top 5 player. I actually have him in my rankings at number 6 overall.
Okay.
Number 6.
Okay.
So
Number
let,
I
6.
let me
got I
try.
got I got something here. In 640 at bat, he takes only 40 base per ball.
Wow.
Yeah. He does not walk.
Yeah, but
He does
He does
not.
yes,
not walk.
but for him, and what you're saying, with just only 40 bases involved, he's still back 298.
Yeah.
So that
Exactly.
means that
Exactly.
he has a good contact. Okay, maybe soft contact, but I think that part of the game for players can get better in
Yeah.
time. So I think that maybe going down on the strikeouts, making better decisions at the plate, and still, what he has done with only 40 bases balls and 137 strikeouts, 298 is kind of impressive.
Oh yeah, especially because he's only what 23 years old.
Yeah.
Imagine when this guy is 27 in his prime. This is the guy that could potentially be the MVP, man, and it might be multiple MVPs. I mean, he's way better than his dad was, in what was that, the late 90s or early 2000s or something like that. So now that we're seeing like this type of player that we've been waiting to see from the Blue Jays, like, dude, they have Vlad and they have Bo Bichette, two MVPs, two potential MVPs on the same team. That's going to be huge for years to come, because both of those guys are young, they're hungry, they want a championship, they want to get paid, so both of these guys, that even with the ball change, I still don't see too much regression from Bo Bichette. I still think he's going to get close to 30 home runs.
How about the park change?
The park change is a little bit, it's going to be a little bit different, because Buffalo, it's the air is a little bit thinner, the park's a little bit smaller, so the home runs do increase there a little bit, but I still think he's going to be okay, because his average exit velocity was still close to close to the top, like 95 miles an hour, something like that, exit velocity. That was just his average exit velocity. His max exit velocity, I think, was like 108.
Okay.
So he's still hitting the ball extremely hard. I think the park change and the ball change isn't going to hurt him too much.
Okay. So you said you have him at number 6.
I got a question very quick for Win. Do you think he's gonna miss Michael Semien on the lineup?
That might hurt his RBI potential if Marcus Semien was hitting in front of him, or his run potential if Semien was hitting behind him. But I think the Blue Jays just still have such a great lineup that missing Semien isn't going to hurt them too much.
No, they're stacked. They're stacked. They have Gurriel. They have Springer, who should be healthy this year. He won't miss him at all.
That's the thing with Springer. Look what the Blue Jays did without Springer last year. Springer played a total of what, like 50 games?
Something like that.
Something like that. He was gone for a long time. And Gurriel was gone for a little bit of time also. And Gurriel didn't even pick it up until after the All-Star break. So with those two guys, if they can catch fire, that's a scary lineup. That's a lineup that the Yankees, the Red Sox all have to be worried about.
Yeah, it is. So you said you have Bichette at number 6. So I'm guessing in there we have Tatis, we have Turner, we have Ramirez, Soto. Who else is in there? Who's before Bichette? Acuna?
Vladimir.
So so actually number 1 overall, and this is very specific to ESPN leagues, I have Shohei Ohtani. And that's only because they have him as the hitter and a pitcher as the same player. Now, when
you're going to get canceled in this league, Will. You're going to get canceled in this league.
but if you split those guys up, I don't have Ohtani, the hitter or the pitcher, in the top 10.
Okay.
So that cancels out him.
Okay.
If you separate the two.
Okay.
Then I would actually have Tatis number 1, and then I would have Bichette number 5.
Okay. Yeah. So in our league, Ohtani qualifies as both, and once one player grabs them, one team grabs them, they have both the batter and the hitter, but they can only use him as a batter or a hitter in the report. So that's quite interesting.
This is Roto, right? So you take all the stats for the year. Okay.
Okay. But we play it a little differently. Remember, I told you we had a system before we started recording. So we do reports. It's by every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks you decide what you're gonna do with your team.
Yeah, that does put a little hit on him, especially because we don't know what they're really gonna do with him this year with Ohtani, because the 2 years ago, before his Tommy John surgery, he was only pitching on Sundays. So that put his pitching stats down a lot. And he was still hitting, he was still hitting bombs like crazy. But if you had the player that was Ohtani, hitter and pitcher, and you were able to use both of them, he got downgraded a lot just because you weren't able to have any pitching stats. And then this past season, he was amazing. If you had Ohtani and if you were able to get his pitching stats and his batting stats, there's no way that he shouldn't be number one.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a lot of points in a points league. That's a lot of points. And even in a categories league, if you're able to use both of them, because that's 100 runs, 100 RBI. What was it, like almost 40 home runs?
No, it was more than 40, 44,
44,
42,
something like that. Yeah.
42,
and like
that.
And 25 stolen bases.
Yep.
Yeah. And a pretty decent average for that type of power also. I think he ended the season right under 270.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So splitting up those guys, it really hurts the value. But in Yahoo leagues, I know they have the different player. You draft Ohtani the pitcher, and someone else drafts Ohtani the batter. Yeah. So that makes it a little bit different. These are just my rankings that I have just for categories leagues pertaining to ESPN stats.
Okay, yeah, we get it. Totally.
Okay. So, Tony, do you have?
I got something for me this year. We're gonna see a great year, and I talked to Will before about Rafael Devers from the Boston Red Sox. I think this guy next year we're gonna see this guy in the top 10 hitters on the league. And one thing I was looking was in 2019, 54 doubles. And now this ball is a little different. So I think Rafael Devers have a big advantage in this season. And he got some people around him, and we have to wait until the free agency and all this stuff happens. But I think we're gonna see a weak year with Rafael Devers.
Yeah, you know what I really love about Devers is he is a huge standout because third base sucks this year. Third base is so bad. And then you have Devers as the only guy that could potentially be a first round pick as a third baseman. That in years past we've had Bregman, unless Vlad still has third base eligibility, obviously.
Well, and you have Ramirez.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, totally forgot about Jose Ramirez. Jose Ramirez, I actually have number 4 overall.
Yeah.
Right ahead of Bo Bichette, and that's if we take out Ohtani. But Devers. The only thing that he doesn't have is stolen bases, but this guy gets on base a lot. He gets a lot of hits. He walks a lot. His slugging percentage is off the charts. He hits a lot of doubles, a lot of home runs. Categories league, he's a five category contributor.
Yeah, he is. Yes, he's not a 0 in stolen bases either. So
no, he's not a 0, but he's not gonna change the game for you.
No.
Yeah, I don't think
10.
he's gonna. I don't think he's gonna get on double figures on stolen bases, and that's why we put and you put ahead Jose Ramirez, because he can give you mostly on every category too, 27 stolen base last year. So I know there's a little bit of concern about the average, and the story that he has a couple of years ago. He can get into a slump pretty good.
Yeah, that was bad.
But,
that was so bad. I had him that year.
Yeah,
I had him that year, and I should have dropped him, and I never did. I was holding out hope, and he's the reason why I lost that year.
Yeah, but certainly he did make his adjustments and change all that. So last year's numbers obviously put him on the first position as a third baseman.
Yeah.
But as you say, kind of after I think after the third or fourth player on third baseman, everything is a good guess for everyone. I don't think there's something there that you can say, okay, I can let this position go by and go back later on the draft and pick up a good third baseman. So I think
Guys,
know,
don't forget something, guys.
Mhm.
Ramirez got the worst offensive around him. And for me, I'm
Exactly.
thinking,
Exactly.
I'm thinking he's gonna have a hard time to put numbers this year. But
Yeah.
the talent is there, you know. But
But
who gonna get in base in the Guardians?
I truly
Um,
believe that last year's Guardians were worse than this year's. So we have Ramil Reyes, we have Bobby Bradley, who's actually bettering himself. We have a couple more years on those outfielders that were just rookies last year. So I think they should get a little bit better. And Ramirez still put up numbers last year with a very bad offensive team.
Yeah. Well, you know, a good thing also is that the American League Central, they don't have the best pitchers.
No.
So you're also the team, the Guardians in general, they're facing a little bit weaker pitching just because they're in the American League Central. So that's actually going to help the lineup a lot as well. Losing Lindor a couple years ago, that was a big hit, even though he hasn't played, you know, up to his standards the last couple years with the Mets. That's still kind of up in the air. I don't know what's really going on with that guy. It just seems like he's been slowly just getting worse every single year. But I still think that Ramirez, because he's the only third baseman that really steals bases, that's really what puts his overall value a lot higher than all these other third basemen. You mentioned the batting average. He's like what, a 260, 262 type of hitter.
62. Yeah.
That's not going to help you at all, but it's also not really going to hurt you because league average is about 260. So I'm okay with his 260 batting average as long as he can give me 35 to 40 home runs to go along with it.
Yeah. And he'll give you the 30 home runs. Yeah.
Yeah, and the 25 stolen base are not something usual on these days on baseball. So we have to think about that too. If you're gonna try to make a balance on your team, a guy like this as your cornerstone is not a bad idea because it gives you a little bit on everything.
Yeah.
And about the average, exactly, I think 266 is something that maybe years before we used to see some mostly players who are a 5 tool category player going around the 280s to 290, maybe 300. But right now, the way we are playing a 266 average is kind of acceptable in a way. Yeah, and that's what I think.
Oh, if you look at his on base percentage, this guy walks a lot as well.
Yes.
So even when he doesn't get a base hit, at least he's still getting on base around 350 to 360, which is a great on base percentage to have.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
So my comments before bringing Ramirez and the third baseman with Devers that Felix brought. I was saying that after maybe the first 3 or 4 or 5 players on third base, after that is kind of a guessing game who could help your team. Do you put a lot of attention to the scarcity of the position in a way that to you have to choose between a good shortstop, the elite shortstop, and a guy like Devers and Ramirez? Would you put the thing that you have to have a good third baseman first and secure that position and then go back to shortstop, or do you still think that you have to pick up the better play at that time and then figure out the rest?
I think it depends on where you're kind of at in the draft. I know you guys do your draft a little bit differently, but if I already have like right here, I see Rafael Devers going after Shane Bieber and right before Zach Wheeler. Right there, starting pitching is also another scarce, top tier scarce position to have in fantasy baseball. There's a lot of back end talent that has a lot of potential, and there's a lot of front end talent that has these amazing numbers that they're putting out, but there's a lot of middle pitchers that just aren't really, they're not as valuable as guys going around them. But it's like, you need 5 pitchers to build your lineup, so who do you kind of go for at that moment? I think it really depends on where you're at in your draft, who you've already chosen in your first round, your second round, your third round. when it comes to guys like Jose Ramirez or Rafael Devers or Manny Machado, I don't think you can go wrong with those guys where they're currently going. But anything after that, I'm kind of staying away from third base and just kind of waiting for the end of the draft. I don't mind getting a guy like Justin Turner, who's going way later, 11th or 12th round, or Matt Chapman, who we don't even know if he's going to be on the A's anymore. There's talks of him possibly being traded. And if you get Matt Chapman, later on in the 13th round or so, that's still 25 home runs with a 250 batting average. So how much lower is that really going to be than like a Manny Machado that is going, 8-9 rounds before him? It's not that big of a difference for me. I'd rather go for guys that are really going to help me right now versus, a guy that could possibly help me throughout the season.
Okay.
So what you're
That
saying
sounds
is,
good.
if you pick Ronald Acuna in the first pick, you're going with a pitcher in the second pick.
Yes. Oh, definitely.
Okay.
I need one of the top 5 pitchers as my number one.
So what are the top 5 pitchers? Let's go for that. So I know we have probably, I do not want to say that Yankees pitcher's name in the top. So let's forget about him for a while. I'll mention the other 4. So we probably have Max Scherzer. We have Walker Buehler, Jacob deGrom, and Corbin Burns.
Corbin Burns.
Are those the other 4 with the Yankees pitcher I don't want to mention?
So in my rankings, I have Walker Buehler as my second pitcher off the board, and then Corbin Burns, and then Brandon Woodruff, and then Shane Bieber. So I actually have Jacob deGrom downgraded a lot.
So you did not. Okay, so you lost a little bit of faith on Jacob deGrom, but you did not lose faith on Shane Bieber.
So I don't have a loss of faith in Jacob deGrom. I just don't think that he's going to be healthy enough for the entire season to help me.
Okay.
I don't think that he's worth a first round pick anymore, or possibly even a second round pick. And fantasy baseball is a gamble, but I don't want to put, I don't want to gamble with that guy. That guy is a little too dangerous for me. When he's healthy, he should be going number 1 overall. There's no other person in the game that's better than him, in my opinion. An ERA under 2, like almost 3 seasons in a row, over 230 strikeouts every single season. The Mets were sucking for so long, so that downgraded him a little bit. Now they're getting a little bit better, so it'd be really nice to see a healthy Jacob deGrom. I don't think we're going to see that this year. I think we're going to be lucky to have 10 starts from this guy.
Oh wow. Okay.
I've been watching deGrom because I've tried to trade for deGrom before in fantasy baseball in the past, and I could have got burned because of injuries. He hasn't been healthy in 3 seasons, and he's getting older. He's going to be 33 years old. So he's on the wrong side of 30, 28 years old, 29 years old. I'll still take that chance. 33 years old, 34 years old. I really don't want any part of that guy.
Okay.
So I've actually downgraded him a lot because of that.
Okay. So you have Scherzer as your number 1.
No, I have the guy that you don't want me to say as my number 1.
That's why he didn't mention the name.
So this is the thing. This is the thing with him. So, once the ban of the sticky stuff came out, he just was not the guy that we're used to seeing.
No.
But he was also dealing with an injury. So in my head, I'm just kind of thinking, was it the sticky stuff or was it the injury? Was it both? But then towards the end of the season, he started becoming himself again.
Yeah.
And then he ended up getting hurt again, and then it all fell to crap again. So I'm willing to let 2021 kind of be the outlier, and I want to see what he's going to do in 2022, and I have no problem taking him number 1.
Okay. All right.
I got a question for you. I want to know your opinion about 2 pitchers that last year did something amazing with his careers, and knowing what they have done before and seeing what everybody thinks they will do this year. I'm talking about two pitchers like Robbie Ray and Adam Wainwright.
I knew you were going
You
to
know,
say
Robbie.
Wainwright. I
Yeah.
already have him up on my computer right now.
Okay. Do you think those guys, especially Wainwright, we know, I was talking about age, can he get a chance to repeat something near what he did last year?
The thing with the ERA, the 305 ERA, I think that was just a lot of luck. It was a lot of really good luck, a lot of good infield plays that really saved him on that. His expected ERA should have been closer to like a 3.3, possibly even a little higher. He he's a great pitcher. You know, there's no doubt about that. He's been in the league for so long, and we've seen him be an ace before. I think that 2020 was a really good break for him. You know, he was able to let his body heal. He how many games did he pitch in 2020? I
have no idea.
Okay,
Probably
I
like
can
12
get
games. 12 games, something like that.
12 games total when he usually does 30.
Yeah.
You know, that's a big rest for an older guy. He's going to be 40 by the time the season starts, or by the time the season's over.
Yeah.
I
was gonna say that you talked about DeGrom being on the wrong side of 30. Wainwright is on the wrong side of 40.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we're gonna see closer to like the Wainwright that we saw 2 years ago, 3 years ago, where he's probably being closer to like a 3.80 ERA. All the other numbers I don't really see dipping too much. I think he's still going to get close to the same amount of strikeouts, probably start as many games that he has before. He's not the biggest injury prone player out there. He's playing for a good Cardinals staff that actually develops their pitchers very well. They know how to handle their pitchers. So the only thing that I really see different about Wainwright going into 2022 is possibly an ERA jump.
Okay, so the other guy that I was talking is Robbie Ray. You know, do you think Robbie can do the same thing about his base and balls and the high amount of strikeouts and that whip of 1.04? Now that he's in Seattle, not the same backup offense, but Seattle is not a bad team. They're getting there, but my concern is that maybe we saw a Robbie Ray that did the best of his career last year. Maybe he can do something close, but maybe not to repeat the Cy Young Award.
The Cy Young, I think that's probably going to be like the highlight of his career. I don't think we're going to see that type of pitcher anymore, but he's always been a high strikeout pitcher. He's always been over 200 strikeouts every season. Last year, he got a lot of wins because of the team that he was on. You know, with the Diamondbacks, you know, they were such a bad team that he didn't really, he couldn't shine the way that he was supposed to. He didn't have the run support. He didn't have, you know, the bullpen to come in after him and save the game after he already had the lead. So his wins weren't as high as they should have been. I think that Toronto basically saved his career. You know, they made him look like the pitcher that he's supposed to be. Going into Seattle now, it's not as good of a lineup. You know, that's gonna hurt him a little bit. He's not gonna have the run support that he had in Toronto. I think the strikeouts are still going to be there. I think the wins will probably still be there. Seattle's trying to make moves too. You know, they're trying to at least win the division. They're trying to. I think the Astros are still going to be the top team over there, especially if Verlander's healthy. That's yet to be seen. But I think that Robbie Ray will probably be something close to what we saw last year. The 2.84 ERA, I don't think we're ever going to see that again. No. I think he's going to be closer to like a mid threes ERA. But yeah, I mean, that's the reason why we don't draft him in the top 5 with starting pitchers, right? Because the numbers that he had last year, obviously he would deserve to be there. But because we've seen his past, he's been under a 3 ERA only twice in his career, and the first time 2017. That was a long time ago. So I'm the type of guy that's like, what have you done for me lately? Tony on our show, he says that a lot, and I completely agree with that. And I see what he saw from what he did for me last year, but lately, meaning like the last like 3 years, I kind of like take the ERA as like a whole from the last 3 seasons rather than just the 2021 season.
So
Okay.
my only concern with Robbie Ray is that moving from Arizona to Toronto to the Blue Jays, you actually said it saved his career. Arizona is such a dry ballpark; it does not help pitchers at all. So getting to the Blue Jays was better. What I doubt about Robbie Ray is, did he really find control that much? Because he went from a really high base on ball percentage pitcher to just dropping dramatically. I don't know if he really found his zone that much, or he just got
Maybe it
lucky.
was a sticky finger situation.
Could be. I mean, that's what that's what's on everyone's mind.
Yeah.
It could possibly be, because there's no way that no pitcher was using some sort of sticky substance and didn't get caught. It's all about not getting caught.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of pitchers out there that were suffering from it, and someone's got to find a method to keep it handy somewhere. Like the umpires, they come over, they check the hat, they check the belt, kind of like normal places, but these guys are sneaky. They have to be hiding something somewhere.
Yeah.
But Robbie Ray is
no
only
doubt.
29 years old also. So we're seeing him in the prime of his career.
Yeah.
So
he's on his peak.
I wouldn't be surprised if we saw something similar to last year, but I'm not willing to gamble on that.
Okay.
I got Satch Wheeler. I think this guy 247 strikeouts, 14 wins, 31 years old, nice lineup, nice team. If you're gonna choose like big one between Robbie Ray and Satch Wheeler, we got Satch Wheeler, all right?
Yeah,
and
I'm going
possibly I'm it's a big chance we're gonna see a better version of him this year, maybe 17, 16 wins, and close to be a Cy Young Award on the National League. So, Louis, don't draft Ruben Ray, right?
So my only comment on Zach Wheeler is I'm probably thinking that every Mets fan out there is asking, where was this guy before we let him go?
Yeah. Well, the Mets don't really handle their pitchers too well. We've seen Syndergaard get hurt where he tore a muscle off of his ribs, and we all know what's going on with Jacob deGrom.
Yeah.
And actually, the reason why I don't have Max Scherzer so high, I actually have Max Scherzer going behind deGrom, and it's because of his age, and it's also because of what happened at the end of last season. So at the end of last season, Max Scherzer wasn't even available for the World Series because he wasn't he had dead arm, and he's what, 38 years old, 39 years old.
Yeah.
So he's getting up there in age. I see Max Scherzer as, if he's healthy, he's going to be amazing like he always is, but I don't think he's going to be healthy, especially with the Mets track record of how they handle their pitchers.
And some of those teams got a better staff, and I think the pitching coach on the Philadelphia Phillies are one of the best ones. So keep the eye on Satch Wheeler, all right? And please, it's my guy. Don't draft him, all right?
Well, the Phillies have Girardi now as their manager, and Girardi was a catcher. So as a previous catcher, he knows how to handle pitchers as well. And he also was with the Yankees for so long that had dominant pitching. Mariano Rivera, that they had a lot of guys that he was able to handle. I think that with Girardi behind the helm, I think that we're going to see a big jump in the Phillies. I think that they even have potential to win the league, especially if the Braves don't re-sign Freddie Freeman.
Oh, yeah.
That's another big if. Where are these free agents falling, right?
There's too many free agents, man.
Yeah.
We need to end this lockout
Oh, yeah.
now.
Yeah, we do.
It's just taking so long.
Yeah.
They're supposed to meet again in a few days, and you know the last time that they met, they only saw each other for about 15 minutes, and that was just that was just MLB telling the Players Association that here's your deadline, figure it out.
Yeah,
And then they just left.
Today they had a 4-hour meeting, so that's pretty
good.
good. Yeah, and they're gonna meet again tomorrow. They're gonna meet every day this week.
That's what they should have been doing for the last couple weeks.
Yeah, I agree.
But that's just me as a fan being upset.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that at this date, everything's going back. I think the start of the season will be delayed. I don't think they can possibly go to an agreement and do all the stuff that has to happen after that. The signing of the CBA, the free agency part, and then moving all the equipment and everything else that they have to do. Those things are things that are maybe not that important for for people to understand, but it has to be a process. And I don't think that we have already that time. We're getting real close to start talking about a delay of the season starting later. I think that if they do keep on with this meeting and not going anywhere, so they can get something done, maybe we got a chance. But as soon as we get, and I hope not, something saying that they will pause this meeting and maybe retake next week or in 3 days. For me, each day that pass is one day of the season that we have to push back. So and that I'm saying that as today. So there's still a window, but I think that the gap between the numbers is what really concerns me. There's too much difference between those numbers.
Yeah. For example, the luxury the arbitration pool that the players suggested was $115 million, and the league was proposing just $5 million. Yeah. So today the league went up to 20. So that's still
just 5.
They just went from 5 to 20. No, they went from 5 to 20. That's 15, but that's still $95 million.
Remember, they started with 10 million, with 5, then 10, then 15, and now 20.
They went to 20.
Yeah, so they're going 5, 5, 5. So how many days we need to get to that 100, at least 100, or maybe 110? So
no, I think if they reach 100, it will be okay, because the players already went down to 100. And
exactly.
And then they went back to 115 when they changed the amount of players that would go to the arbitration pool from 100 to 80%. So let's see. But I'm like Mirabel Madrigal. I like to live in denial. Those who saw Encanto, the movie. So I'm in denial. I think they will get it done, and we'll have baseball by 1st of April. Let's see.
I agree. I'm still hopeful. I don't see anything. I see signs pointing in both directions, but I don't see anything overwhelming on both sides. So I'm still hopeful that we're going to get the season on time. It's really just going to hurt the pitchers and catchers for now. Because they're not able to report and they're not able to get stretched out. So by the beginning of the season, we're not going to see starting pitchers go 6 innings at a time. They're going to have a shortened spring training, which is probably only going to be about 2 weeks or so. And then if the season starts on time, then they might be able to throw 50 pitches,
Actually,
so that's going to be more like 3 innings.
Actually, MLB is saying that they need at least 4 weeks of spring training. So if they don't get done by the 28th, they're pushing back the season no matter what, because they're doing 4 weeks of spring training. Of course, the Player Association has not agreed to this, but that's what the league is pushing for.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't really
All
seem
right,
like
guys.
either side is really budging too much.
No,
So,
no, they're not. No, they're not.
All right, guys,
So-
we got 5 minutes more, so let's talk about strategy. All right, how is the best way you can build a team on fantasy team, and what is the advice we got for us?
I think in the first, 5 rounds or so, you can't really go wrong with any players that you choose. At that point, it's really just going to be injuries or slumps or something that you can't really predict. But anything after that, you're really just going for upside. You're going for guys that you see have the potential to go farther than they've gone before, to be able to be better than what they did last year and previous years. So the guys like Lindor that you could possibly draft, that's the guy that you would want to stay away from. You want to go for a guy a little bit younger, possibly, that has better potential, So that's really what I look for in the later rounds, 8th round, 9th round, 10th round. Later on, when you start filling up your bench, I usually start to go for starting pitchers that are not drafted yet towards the end. Guys like Tyler Malley, who I'm actually pretty high on. Joe Ryan, who I'm also pretty high on. Those guys you can get in the later rounds that a lot of people don't even know about, and those are the guys that I could see that did really well in 2021 that could potentially be even better in 2022. And I don't really see them as league winners, but they're definitely not going to hurt you, So those are the guys that you want to go after, guys with bigger upside that aren't going to hurt you and have potential to really help you win the league.
Your words on Cody Bellinger.
Cody Bellinger, 2021 was horrible, man. But what people have to realize is that at the end of 2020, he dislocated his right shoulder. And, that was after a home run celebration that he had. And he had off-season shoulder surgery. And for a power hitter, shoulder surgery is huge. You can't just come back and expect to have the same swing, the same type of power. I think that the 2021 season was his chance to really get, his surgery, his surgically repaired arm stretched out, used to handling a big workload. I think that all he's been doing in the offseason is just training and training some more. And 2022, I don't think we're going to see anything close to his MVP season, but I think we're going to see him hit 40 home runs again.
Perfect.
That's good.
Apúntale eso a la morcilla, Luis.
All right,
we'll pay attention to that.
All right, so I want to say thank you to you to spend this time with us. Do you have a web page? Any way we can have contact with you and send your or questions? I know you got a YouTube channel, and can you talk more about that?
Yeah, every Friday, my co-host and my co-host, his name is Carlos Baseball. I'm Willpower for those who can't see my name on the bottom left corner. So we record every Friday night. We also go live on YouTube at the same time. Usually it's between 5 and 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. So that's 8 to 8:30 Eastern time. That's usually when we start. So our YouTube channel is called Real Talk Baseball, and our email is actually the same. It's realtalkbaseball@yahoo.com. So you're welcome to send us any questions that you have about fantasy baseball, about baseball in general, kind of anything. We're always there to drop some knowledge. We also have an Instagram page. You can search for Real Talk Baseball. I like to during the season get my 2-start pitchers for the week. There's guys that pitch on Monday, and then they also pitch on Saturdays and Sundays. So that's usually what I like to do on my weekends with my Instagram page. Is I'll post which 2-start pitcher I think that you should be picking up for the week, and it's usually guys that are owned in less than 40% of leagues. So that way, most of the time, they're actually pretty available. So we have some pretty good content. So.
Okay, that's awesome.
And by the way, I want to say something. Last year, you remember, guys, when Ronald Acuna was on my team, get hurt. And I was looking on YouTube, and I found Will and Carlos. Tony is the other guy, right, Tony?
Oh, yeah.
So I found their show. I asked to the guys, Ronald Acuna get hurt. I am my league. We use 5 outfielders. What player I can use to substitute my Ronald Acuna spot? And they told me Cedric. What
Cedric
is the Baltimore?
Cedric Mullins.
Yeah. And worked perfect for me. After that, Mullins goes up all the way and helped me to win the champions. And I want my friends here look the show we did on Friday. He talked about he helped a lot of guys to get the championship, and I'm one of those guys. So
hey, that's great to hear, man. I love hearing stuff like that. It makes me feel like I'm actually doing my job correctly.
Yeah, you are doing a great job with the guys. So I got a surprise for my people. Will, can you say something in Spanish?
Felicidades. I don't know how to say championship.
Campeonato.
Campeonato.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Close enough.
But all right. So next time, if we can do it with Carlos, will be great, man. We really appreciate your time, and was a nice time here with you, brother.
Yeah, that was fun, man. I really appreciate the invite to come on your show.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. It was awesome.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Go.
So we're gonna share your page and your Instagram in our page, so that way in Puerto Rico they can watch your material, your content, and grow up together, right?
That's awesome. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate that.
Thank you, Will.
Okay, thank you, man.
Córtalo.
All right.
Hey, gracias.